Gentlemen over 60, listen very carefully to what I am about to say. If you wake up in the morning and that natural, effortless strength you once counted on feels lifeless, if the silence in the room feels heavier than it used to be, I know where your mind goes. You think it's age. You think it's inevitable. You think a vital part of you is gone forever. But as a doctor who has analyzed the physiology of aging for decades, I need to tell you the most shocking truth about your body. Your body is not broken. Your ability to function as a man did not vanish. It has only gone quiet. Think of it this way. The hardware, your blood vessels, your nerves, the physical structure down there is still perfectly intact. It is capable right now. The problem isn't the machinery. The problem is that the signal has stopped arriving. Over decades, the neural pathways that carry the wake up command have become silent. The blood vessels, unused to the sudden morning surge, have lost their elasticity. It's like a room in your house where you haven't flipped the light switch in 10 years. The wiring is still there, the bulb is good, but the room sits in darkness because the connection isn't being made. So, how do we turn the lights back on? It is not with a risky pill, and it is certainly not with surgery. Science has identified 3 specific, often overlooked points on the male anatomy that act as biological switches. When you learn to activate these 3 points correctly, you re-establish the connection. Blood flows, sensation returns, and your natural morning strength awakens again. Today, I am giving you the manual. I have spoken to countless men in my clinic who lower their voices and ask, "Dr. Anya, is something wrong with me? I used to wake up strong every day, but now, nothing." And I look them straight in the eye and say, nothing is wrong with you. You see, aging is not the same as losing your ability. It's just that the signals that once came naturally have grown quieter. Think of your body like a grand estate where you've stopped visiting certain rooms. The power is still there, the lights still work, but because the switch hasn't been flipped in years, the room stays dark. That doesn't mean the electricity is gone. It means the connection has been interrupted. What actually happens over time is a process called neural and vascular desensitization. When we stop sending regular signals to the pelvic floor, the nerves enter a state of dormancy. At the same time, the tiny capillaries, the micropipes of your blood system, become less elastic. They aren't destroyed, they are just stiff. Like a garden hose left in the sun, they've lost their flexibility. But the hope, the undeniable medical hope, is that these pathways are incredibly resilient. They are waiting right now, ready to respond the moment you give them the right stimulation. This is where the 3 switches come into play. By applying targeted pressure with specific intent, you aren't just touching skin. You are sending a manual override signal to your nervous system. You are literally knocking on a door that has been shut for too long. Once you knock correctly, the door opens, the blood surges, and the body remembers what it once did with ease. Let's look at the first and perhaps most important command center located just above your pubic bone. The first point I want to share with you lies just above your pubic bone. It's that small, often ignored stretch of your lower abdomen where the belly meets the pelvis. Most men go their entire lives without paying this area any real attention, seeing it as nothing more than skin and bone. But in the world of clinical urology and ancient vitality, this is point 0. It is the gatekeeper of your pelvic circulation. When I guide a patient to press here gently, I often see their expression change instantly because they feel something stir that they thought was long gone. What makes this point so effective isn't magic, it's pure biology. Just beneath this specific area run the key blood vessels and nerves that supply the lower organs. Over years of sitting or stress, these pathways grow compressed or restricted. The signals grow weaker and circulation slows to a crawl. By stimulating the spot with awareness and a specific type of deep breath, you are literally knocking on a door that has been shut for decades. You are reminding your body to send oxygenated blood back where it belongs. Here is how you do it. This is not about pressing hard or trying to force a reaction in the moment. It is about reestablishing a conversation with your own body. Using 2 fingers, apply a soft, consistent pressure. As you do, I want you to take a deep, slow breath into your lower belly. Imagine the air reaching all the way down to your fingertips. I remember a patient, Walter, age 67. He felt defeated, but within minutes of this simple practice, he felt a faint rush of warmth. He told me, "It's like something is waking up for the first time in years." That is the power of switch number 1. Now we come to the second point, and I can tell you with absolute certainty, very few men have ever truly paid attention to it. This spot is called the perineum, the soft space that lies between the scrotum and the anus. In Eastern medicine, it has been recognized for thousands of years as the meeting of yin, or CV1. In Western medicine, we call it the pelvic floor center. But regardless of the name, this point holds extraordinary power over a man's circulation. Think of it as the hidden gateway. When this area is tight, which it often is after decades of sitting at desks or in cars, it acts like a kink in a garden hose, stopping the flow before it can even begin. Why is this point so vital? Because the perineum acts like a master valve for the entire lower body. When you are stressed, or simply as you age, this area tends to hold chronic tension. That tension compresses the pudendal nerve and the deep arteries. By sitting on a soft, rolled-up towel or a cushion and applying gentle, upward pressure to the spot while breathing deeply, you aren't just relaxing. You are manually opening the valve. You are allowing blood that has been trapped for years to move freely again. You are letting the electricity reach the places it has forgotten how to visit. I remember a patient named Thomas, a 71-year-old Marine veteran. He came to me and said, "Dr. Anya, it's like the lights went out down there. I don't feel anything anymore." I taught him the simple practice of stillness and breath on the perineum switch. No forcing, just presence. Within days, he called me. His voice was different. He said, "Something is happening. It's faint, but I feel a pulse again. I feel alive." Weeks later, he told me his mornings were no longer empty. He hadn't just regained physical strength, he had regained his sense of self. That is what happens when you open the gateway. The third switch I want to share with you is perhaps the most overlooked of all. It isn't even on your groin. In fact, it runs along your inner thigh, a place you've probably never connected to your morning strength. But think of your body's circulation like a city's water system. You can have the best faucets in the world, but if the main water main coming from the street is restricted, nothing happens. This point, located along the crease where your inner thigh meets your lower abdomen, is your body's main water main. Hidden beneath that soft line of your inner thigh are the femoral artery and nerve. These are the primary highways that carry blood and sensation to your manhood. When these pathways become stiff or neglected, often from years of sitting, they lose their volume. The pipes become narrow. By tracing your fingertips along this inner crease and applying gentle pressure to the tender spots, you are releasing the pressure on the main line. You are inviting a massive surge of blood to flow freely again, where it is needed most. I remember a patient named Earl, a 68-year-old truck driver. He had spent decades sitting behind the wheel. To him, his thighs were just for hauling him around. When I showed him how to awaken this inner thigh line, he was skeptical, but after just 1 week of daily practice, he came back with a grin. He said, "Dr. Anya, it's like the blood is finally moving again. I don't just feel it in the bedroom. I feel warmer, I walk with more energy, and for the first time in years, my mornings feel like they used to." Earl didn't just find his strength. He found his dignity, and it all started with a part of his body he had ignored for 40 years. By now, you might be wondering, how does a simple touch on the pubic bone or the thigh create a physical response? The answer lies in a tiny Nobel Prize winning molecule called nitric oxide. In the medical world, we call it the gas pedal of blood flow. Nitric oxide is the messenger that tells your blood vessels to relax, open up, and let the surge happen. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at producing this gas. But here is the secret. Physical stimulation of the nerves around those three switches acts as a direct command to your endothelium to release a fresh burst of nitric oxide. Think of nitric oxide like a lubricant for your arteries. When you activate the switches, you're essentially polishing the internal lining of your vessels. This process, called vasodilation, allows the vessels to expand to 3 or 4 times their resting size. Without enough nitric oxide, your body's trying to push life through a straw. With it, you're opening up a fire hose. This is why morning strength returns, not because you've cured age, but because you've restored the chemical environment that allows your anatomy to do what it was designed to do. But it's more than just a temporary response. By opening these pathways every day, you're flooding those quiet tissues with fresh, highly oxygenated blood. Oxygen is the fuel for repair. It heals the delicate nerves and keeps the tissues elastic. When you practice this protocol, you aren't just looking for a quick spark. You are marinating your lower body in the very nutrients it needs to stay young. You are quite literally breathing life back into a system that has been starving for years. Pressing the switches alone can spark powerful changes, but to make them last, you need a foundation. The first habit is deep belly breathing. When you breathe slowly through your nose, you flood your system with nitric oxide and lower your blood pressure, relaxing the very vessels we are trying to open. The second is a glass of warm water first thing in the morning. After a long night, your blood is naturally thicker. Warm water thins it gently, allowing it to flow like a river rather than sludge. It is the simplest act of respect you can show your circulation. The third habit is reducing sugar, especially in the evening. Sugar is like sandpaper to the inner lining of your arteries. It creates tiny scars that make erections weaker. The fourth is a light walk after dinner. This activates your venous pump, the muscles in your legs that help push blood back up to your heart. It ensures that while you sleep, your blood doesn't pool in your feet, but stays active and ready to surge when you wake up. The fifth and final habit is the most important, the mindset of respect. If you rush through these points with frustration, your nervous system will resist. It will stay in fight or flight mode, which is the enemy of blood flow. But when you approach these switches with patience, you are telling your body, I still value you. I still trust you. This isn't just talk, it's neurobiology. When your brain feels safe and respected, it releases the signals that allow your manhood to rise. You aren't just fixing a part, you are reconnecting with the man you are today. I know there are many of you listening right now who are nodding politely, but remain unconvinced. You wonder if this is too simple, or if you are the one exception, the man who is truly beyond help. I remember Harold, a 74-year-old who came to me after trying every pill and remedy on the market. He told me, Dr. Anya, I don't need to feel 20 again. I just want to wake up and feel like I still matter. His words carried the weight of the silent disappointment so many men bear alone. I taught him the 3 switches and told him to be patient. 3 weeks later, he called me with a voice full of life. It wasn't just the strength that had returned, it was his sense of being whole again. Then there was Earl, the truck driver who had spent 40 years sitting behind a wheel. His body felt stiff and disconnected. When he started focusing on the inner thigh line, that main pipeline of blood, He didn't just notice a change in his vitality. He told me he felt a new energy in his legs, a calmness in his chest, and a pride he hadn't felt in decades. "I feel like I'm in control again," he said. Earl's story proves that age doesn't take away your manhood. It only creates a layer of stagnation that is waiting to be cleared away. What ties these men together isn't their health history or their look. It is that they chose to stop seeing their bodies as broken machines and started seeing them as systems that just needed to be reawakened. The moment you feel even a trace of warmth or a faint pulse returning to your lower body, your entire mindset shifts. You stop believing you are finished. You start walking taller. Hope is the greatest biological catalyst we have. Once you believe it is possible, your body finds a way to make it a reality. Real change does not come from trying something once. It doesn't come from pressing a point for 5 minutes and expecting a miracle. Your body needs time to rebuild its neural pathways and for your blood vessels to regain their elasticity. This is why I ask my patients for a 21-day commitment. In the first week, you are simply waking up the nerves. You might only feel a faint warmth. By the second week, the nitric oxide begins to repair the vessel walls. And by the third week, the switches stay flipped. You aren't just sparking a flame, you are rebuilding the furnace. The difference between a man who sees results and a man who doesn't is not his age, it is his ritual. Make these 3 switches part of your nightly wind down right before you brush your teeth. Combine them with your belly breathing. When you turn a technique into a ritual of self-respect, your nervous system stops resisting and starts cooperating. You are no longer fighting your age, you are investing in your presence. I have watched men who made these techniques a daily act of self-respect transform not just their mornings, but their entire lives. They sleep deeper, they walk with more confidence, and they look in the mirror with pride instead of defeat. Consistency is the only bridge between the man you are now and the man you were always meant to be in this season of life. Your best years aren't a memory of the past. They are a reality waiting to be lived again through the power of habit. As we come to the end of this journey, I want you to take a moment of silence. Reflect on everything you've just learned. You began this video perhaps with doubt, maybe even with a sense of quiet frustration, wondering if your body had already left its best days behind. But now you know the truth. Your body is not broken. Your manhood is not a memory, and your age does not define your ability to feel alive. The 3 switches, the pubic bone, the perineum, and the femoral line, are waiting for you to flip them back on. They are the keys to a house you never truly left. This is not about chasing the ghost of your 20-year-old self. It is about claiming the man you are today, a man who has lived, endured, and overcome. Every time you breathe deeply, every time you press these points with patience, you are telling yourself that you still matter. You are reinforcing the most powerful message a man can send to his own biology. I am still here, and I am still worth the effort. When you treat your body with this level of respect, it answers you. Not with a temporary spark, but with a steady, enduring flame of confidence and dignity. So as you finish this message, I want you to make it personal. Tonight, when you lie down, or tomorrow morning when you rise, make the choice to begin. I want us to build a community of men who refuse to be quieted by age. To show me you are with me, I want you to go to the comments right now and type, "I am claiming my vitality." Let that be your pledge. If this masterclass gave you hope, please subscribe and turn on the notifications. We have much more to explore on this journey together. I am Dr. Anya, and it is my honor to help you wake up stronger every single day. I'll see you in the next lesson.